Welcome to the Elements of Spirit for the week of July 17th, 2017. Where is my light? There it is. It's getting stronger and stronger as I've been doing the videos. So pardon me if I'm a little squinty. This is the reading for the element of water for the week of July 17th. I think I said that, 2017. Element of water includes the sun signs of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. If you haven't listened to your ether reading, go back and check it out now. It's all about making magic. I observe my physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual state. I prioritize the immaterial to make magic. I'm adjusting my set and setting. I'm adjusting prioritizing the invisible. Why? Because I can make magic by affecting material change through immaterial means. What does that mean for water? Still more to flush, still more to burn, still more to steam. Let it out. Let it out. Let it all out. Okay. To me, this is just saying that it's in the nature of element water to absorb more and more and more and more and more and more and more, to take on more and more and more and more and more. Because thanks to the earth and the fire and the air and all the other elements, it is possible for water to absorb a lot of toxicity and distribute it through itself, aka the oceans, aka all the fucking rivers and everywhere that people are dumping stuff into the world. There is a connection between the rivers and oceans of the world and the immune system and emotional body of each of us as citizens of this world. That is the macroscopic, the blood and lymph and immune system of the earth is the rivers and oceans and veins of water, like, period. So the toxification of those avenues is a analogous to the toxification of our own rivers. So basically, what I was wanting to say to you is like, I always feel like, yeah, I'm clear, I'm fine. Like, I did my meditation, I flushed my shit out, I'm fine. The idea here is like, no, you're not done. There's still more to flush, still more to burn, still more to steam. So I'm feeling it mostly as like, it's not really filtration. It's like water, fire, and like release it into the earth. So still more to flush. That means like water on top of water. That means even if it feels lazy or indulgent or self-gratificatory, that's not really a word, I think, but like even if you feel self-indulgent, please be nice to yourself this week. Have the nicest thoughts you can. Put yourself in the nicest setting that you can. Say no. Say no. Say no. If you don't like the vibes, leave the room. You're sensitive. We're at the end of Cancer season this week. We're going to shift soon. So like, honor the end of this watery moment because it feels like it's going to be wicked watery. Honoring the watery moment by bringing nice water to yourself, kindness and compassion for yourself, by being sensitive to yourself, by even being a little self-indulgent and letting yourself off the hook every now and again, you're going to flush. Still more to burn by applying some fire to your water. it is a purificatory process. It helps you to, okay, so what that says is that says you don't necessarily have to do practical things this week, but you do have to do things. So to me, that means like get into your body, make yourself exercise, go to yoga, stretch, or clean something, or fix something, or work on something. So that's my point, is like you don't necessarily have to do the thing which accomplishes your desires or which gets what you want, but you do have to do something, because as water signs we can tend towards stagnation, because like I said, we absorb all this toxicity, and then where do we actually put it? So first option is to flush by applying more water, compassion, good feelings, and emotions. Second option is to burn by applying fire, action, do something somewhere, do something, anything. It doesn't have to be the thing, but do something. The next is steam. Interesting. Steam is air and water that's been heated. So it says if you do some stuff, like for instance, yoga helps me a lot. If I do some yoga, I've now applied fire to my stagnant waters, and I'm going to feel less turbulent, less toxified, more fluid, more free, more buoyant. The steam would take us back to the ether reading. I observe my physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual state. I witness that state. I adjust my set if I desire, but because I prioritize the immaterial in order to make magic. I make magic, I make material change. There's a little lizard over there. I make material change through immaterial means. When you come on top of it, when you observe your emotional state, because I've applied compassionate, delicious, watery medicine, right? I've applied water, compassionate feelings. I've applied some fire by doing something, by taking some kind of action. That allows me to now observe my emotional state and be like, oh, I'm more tranquil. I needed some of that fire in order to burn a little bit, in order to get the waters moving, in order to purify ever so slightly, and in order to just give myself something to do rather than sitting and stewing in my waters. I'm applying myself, and I'm moving myself. I'm creating heat. That heat causes some kind of change, transformation, usually a settling of those waters, so that I can then look at myself from above. That's the steam. I bring my mental being to bear in witnessing my emotional state. And when I see that, I see both silt, dust, toxicity, and clarity. And I let it out, let it all out. I release the densest and most toxic elements of my emotional state. That's your affirmation. I release the densest and most toxic elements of my emotional state. I do this now and repeatedly as needed, with compassion for the roles these forces have played in my life. I release the densest and most toxic elements of my emotional state. I do this now and repeatedly as needed, with compassion for the roles these forces have played in my life. Recap. All of this is a process of flushing, applying, witnessing, releasing. So basically this week is a window for you to release the densest and most toxic elements of your emotional state. Again, it doesn't happen all at once, but as we learned in the, I think air readings. I think they were the air readings. When you, if you do this repeatedly and bring your attention to it, I release the densest and most toxic elements of my emotional state. I do this now and repeatedly as needed with compassion for the roles these forces have played in my life. So the idea is anytime you feel a bit of that emotional grit inside of yourself, let it go. This is a great week for letting it go. You may need to go through this process of flushing with compassion, burning through application, doing something, steaming by witnessing and acknowledging the toxic and the clear, the dense and the dense and the light, the dark and the light, witnessing them, observing them, and releasing them through this affirmation. I release the densest and most toxic elements of my emotional state. I do this now and repeatedly as needed with compassion for the roles these forces have played in my life. Use this, guys. Every session that I had this past weekend had some kind of elemental affirmation associated with it. There's something happening with the elements, if I have anything to do with it. So use it. Use this power to release the densest and most toxic elements of your emotional state at this time during this week. Why? So that you can make magic. So that you can prioritize the immaterial to affect material change, so that you can make a miracle in your life, something that happens faster and more easily than you could have possibly imagined. But maybe once it happens, you can look back and go, oh, it happened because I didn't pursue the rational, linear, practical approach to this. I pursued the irrational, non-linear, impractical approach to it. I used immaterial means to affect material change. I hope you enjoy this. I love you. I'll see you next week.